Hi, K-pop lovers. Welcome back to the channel. Open TikTok right now, search her name, and you won't find a handful of clips. You'll find millions of them. Fan cams, edits, dance covers, reaction videos, all stacked on top of each other in an endless scroll that somehow never gets boring. That's not an accident, and it's not just because she's a K-pop idol. There's a very specific reason Gen Z keeps circling back to Chiquita over and over. And once you see the pattern, you'll notice it in literally every clip of her that goes viral. Subscribe before we get into it, because this isn't really a video about one idol. It's about how an entire generation decides who gets their attention online, and Chiquita happens to check almost every box. Start with the most obvious thing: the sheer volume of content. Chiquita-related tags on TikTok sit in the millions of posts, and that number keeps climbing with every era BABYMONSTER puts out. That's not just fans posting, that's the algorithm recognizing a pattern and pushing it wider, because short-form platforms reward content that gets rewatched, and her face does something specific that makes rewatching almost automatic. She is what fans and editors online describe as queen of expression, meaning her reactions are big, clear, and easy to read even with the sound off. On a platform where most videos are scrolled past in under 2 seconds, a face that telegraphs emotion instantly is exactly what keeps a thumb from swiping away. Then there's the fancam culture specifically built around her CHOM era performances. Stages like We Go Up and the CHOM title track get sliced into close-up edits within hours of airing, tight 4K cuts that focus purely on her facial expressions and choreography hits, set to whatever sound or caption trend is circulating that week. This matters more than it sounds like it should, because Gen Z doesn't just consume content, they remix it. A fancam isn't just a clip anymore, it's raw material for an edit, a trend, an inside joke. When a performer's face and movement style is easy to cut into short, punchy clips that match a trending audio, that performer ends up everywhere, not because of one viral moment, but because their content is structurally easy to turn into dozens of smaller viral moments. Her age plays into this too, in a way that's a little uncomfortable to talk about but impossible to ignore if you're explaining the mechanics honestly. Chiquita is the magne of BABYMONSTER, the youngest member of the group, and a huge portion of her audience online is made up of viewers who are around the same age or even younger. That's a real factor in parasocial attachment. Gen Z viewers don't just admire idols from a distance the way older fan culture sometimes did. They relate to them, especially to the youngest member of a group, because watching someone close to your own age navigate global fame, awkward interview moments, and online scrutiny creates an immediate "I get her" reaction that older idols simply can't replicate in the same way. Comment sections under her clips are full of viewers defending her age, celebrating her birthday, tracking her growth from trainee evaluations to global stages, which is a very specific kind of attachment. Less "I admire this performer," and more "I'm watching someone grow up in real time, and I feel protective of her." There's also the language layer, which gets underestimated constantly. Chiquita is Thai, and clips of her using Thai greetings or phrases with other idols, like the moment she greeted members of the group Chorus with a traditional Thai gesture, travel especially well across Southeast Asian TikTok and X communities. That single clip alone shows up tagged in multiple languages, repurposed by different regional fan accounts, which means her content isn't just being watched by one fandom, it's being simultaneously picked up by Thai audiences, Chinese audiences where she's been described as having a notable following, and the broader international MONSTIEZ space all at once. Most idols have a primary audience, and a secondary international audience that trails behind. Chiquita's multilingual, multicultural background means several audiences are engaging with the same piece of content for slightly different reasons, which multiplies reach in a way a single language idol clip just can't match. Now layer in the editing trends themselves, because this is where Gen Z's specific taste really shows up. Recent viral edits use her CHOM stage as the backdrop for caption trends like "I just get so," pairing tense, electric choreography moments with captions that describe a feeling rather than describing her. That's a very Gen Z way of engaging with celebrity content. It's not "look how talented she is," it's "this clip captures a mood I want to attach myself to." The actual performer becomes almost secondary to the feeling the clip produces, which sounds backwards, but it's exactly why this kind of content spreads so fast. People aren't just sharing Chiquita, they're using Chiquita's stage presence as a vehicle for expressing something about themselves, the editor's mood, the viewers' "this is so me" reaction. The inside joke an entire fan community builds around one expression caught at one angle. Her range matters here as well. The same range that makes professional makeup artists call her face an adaptable canvas applies just as much to her on-camera personality. One clip has her described as acting mode, doing a comedic bit for a variety segment. The next clip is a fan calling her the main killer of a comeback performance, full intensity, full stage presence. Gen Z audiences specifically gravitate toward personalities that can't be flattened into one type because a single-note persona gets boring fast in a feed built on novelty, while someone who can be goofy in one clip and commanding in the next gives the algorithm and the audience a reason to keep clicking just to see which version shows up next. And underneath all of it is something simpler that's easy to miss because it's not flashy. Consistency without staleness. New fan cams, new dance covers, new edits keep surfacing every single week, tied to new stages, new comebacks, new variety appearances, which means there's always fresh material feeding the algorithm instead of the same handful of clips getting endlessly recycled. Platforms reward accounts and topics that consistently produce new watchable content, and between comeback promotions, fan-made edits, and clips from ongoing tour stops, Chiquita-related content rarely goes quiet long enough for the algorithm to lose interest. There's also a layer to this that fans argue about constantly, which is exactly the kind of thing that keeps a comment section alive for days. Around the Sugar Honey Iced Tea era, clips started circulating with captions like, "She's not the Magne we used to know anymore," pointing to a noticeably sharper, more grown-up stage persona compared to her debut era. Some viewers read that as her best glow-up yet, proof she's matured into the group's most commanding performer. Others pushed back, saying the Magne charm was the whole appeal in the first place, and that losing it would be a mistake. That kind of split opinion is basically free fuel for engagement, because nobody scrolls past a debate they actually have a side on, they stop and type their opinion in the replies. So tell me where you land on that one. Do you prefer Magne-era Chiquita or Sugar Honey Iced Tea-era Chiquita? Because the comment section on videos like this usually splits almost down the middle. The same thing happens with her dancing, and this one gets surprisingly heated. There's an entire pocket of TikTok built around clips literally titled, "Rate Chiquita's Dance Skills 1 to 10, alongside other edits specifically analyzing her role inside BABYMONSTER's very dynamic dance line, debating whether she's an all-rounder, a scene stealer, or somewhere in between depending on the choreography. Dance skill debates are one of the most reliable comment generators in all of K-pop content, because every viewer thinks they can spot footwork or timing, which means everyone feels qualified to weigh in. Pair that with an idol whose stage presence is already described as commanding attention even when she's not the technical center of a formation, and you get exactly the kind of disagreement that turns a quiet upload into a comment thread with hundreds of replies arguing with each other instead of just talking to the screen. Then there's the side of her that has nothing to do with performance at all, and somehow generates just as much engagement. Clips of her in acting mode, doing comedic bits for variety segments, candid moments, reacting to her own photo cards, or small interactions with other idols backstage rack up reaction, heavy comment sections that look completely different from the ones under her fan cams. These aren't comments analyzing technique, they're comments about personality. "She's so unserious here. This is the funniest version of her. I need more of this side." Gen Z audiences specifically reward idols who give them multiple separate reasons to comment, one for skill, one for stage presence, one for personality, because that turns a single performer into 3 or 4 different content categories that each pull in their own wave of replies. Put it all together: the instantly readable expressions, the fan-cam-friendly choreography, the age-driven parasocial pull, the multilingual cross-border reach, the mood-based edit trends, the Magne era versus grown-up era debate, the dance skill arguments, and the constant stream of fresh content, and Gen Z can't stop watching her. Stops sounding like a vague compliment and starts looking like a checklist she happens to tick almost completely. It's not one viral moment that explains this, it's a structural fit between who she is and how short-form platforms decide what deserves to be watched, argued about, and watched again. So next time her face shows up in your feed for the third time in one scrolling session, you'll know it's not random. Tell me in the comments which Chiquita era hooked you first, Magne era cute, or Sugar Honey Iced Tea era sharp, and don't be shy about disagreeing with the person above you. That's half the fun down there. And if you want the next member breakdown the second it drops, hit subscribe now, because this series only gets deeper from here. Ahyeon.